Welcome. Please find a seat. Get some coffee. We still have a few people trickling in. Come hang out with us. Raise your hand if it's your first time here. Awesome. Welcome. Welcome. So the format is we have one presentation for about 6 minutes, and then we'll have our expert panelists ask their questions, and then we'll open up to the audience for questions. If you have a question, line up over here, and there's a mic over here. And then we're going to have it from LEANLAB. So we do it twice, and we're going to introduce our expert panelists now. We have Leslie Walton of KC SourceLink.
Good morning. Like she said, my name is Leslie Walton. I'm a network navigator at KC SourceLink, so I'm very happy to be here to continue to help people get connected to resources. So thank you.
Thanks for being here. And our other expert panelist is our very own Kyle Smith. Do you want to say anything about yourself? you already know. And my name's Caitlin. John, another organizer, is right behind the camera, and this is Courtney and Tyler. And if you could do me a favor, we have a 1 Million Cups app. If you check in, you can give our presenters feedback directly to them, which that's what this is all about. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. And we also are on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram's new, 1 Million Cups KC. Anything else? I think we're good. All right, we're going to welcome our first presenter, Shakira and Melanie of The Art of Imagination.
Woo!
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Shakira, and this is my partner Melanie, and we are with The Art of Imagination. And so I thank you for coming here this morning. And I just want to tell you that one of my favorite people in the world is Walt Disney. Not only did he flourish creatively right here in Kansas City, but he used his imagination to completely transform the American story. He understood that the intimate relationship between art and logic was the secret to human advancement. So his two masterpieces, Snow White and Cinderella, completely manifested a new reality for generations to come. But how did he do this? It started with an idea. And once he had this idea, he was able to transform it into an inspiration that would be wonderful for all of us. But it would have been incomplete if it had not been for logic, critical thinking, and scientific advancement. So, you may be wondering, what does any of this have to do with the art of imagination? So, if you look at a community holistically, you'll understand that art and culture is the DNA of that community. The scientific advancements and paintings and all of that that come forth tell us about the civilization, who they are, and their impact upon Earth, right? So it is no surprise that children that are exposed to arts consistently perform better, both academically and socially, than their counterparts that don't get to have these opportunities. Some of the effects on poverty, on creativity and achievement. Right now we have roughly about 20% of our community in Kansas City that live at the poverty line. The effects of poverty are oftentimes ignored, and they're oftentimes thought to be temporary. But the reality is that this has effects for generations to come. So the latest data released by the Nation's Report Card found a 29-point difference on standardized test scores between students that qualify for free lunch and those that do not. Consistently, students of color perform worse on standardized testing, discipline records, and graduation rates. These inequities have largely been linked to the effects of being poor. However, many studies have shown a neutrality of these effects on poverty when students are enrolled in quality art programming. In fact, in Missouri, school districts with higher levels of student participation in arts showed higher graduation rates than those districts that are arts poor. And unfortunately, our market that Melanie and I serve do not have access to art programming because of financial cost. And so our first initiative that we launched was Imagination Camp. We launched that over the summer, and I'm going to let Melanie tell you a little bit about that.
Good morning. Okay, so with our Imagination Camp, what we did is we had a group of about 15 kids, and we just introduced them to all kinds of different art. So like Van Gogh, we had them paint a Mona Lisa. We had them paint Starry Night. We did things like that with them just to express their creativity. We also had them create a play, all of them together. Just create something all on their own. We separated them into a younger group and an older group, and they literally came up with a play all on their own with their imagination. So what we're trying to do is just put that back into children. The imagination, actually them thinking critically, logically in their mind and creating something with it. So that's what we're doing with camp, and that's what we want to continue to do with the academy that we're going to create. So.
Absolutely. And also part of our Imagination Camp was at the end during a showcase that Melanie was telling you about. They had an art auction, and the children were able to auction off all of the work that they created during camp, and they were able to keep their money because one of the things that we want to instill is that sense of leadership and that sense of understanding that you can create something and then make a positive impact for both yourself and your community. This is just a little bit about what our mothers thought. A lot of our children are actually waiting for camp to come up next year, and a lot of the moms are super excited about that because some of the kiddos don't like structured school, especially summer things, so they were super excited. Our next initiative, because we said we cannot stop there, we need to keep going. So our next initiative is going to be the opening of our Imagineer Academy. This is going to open September 7th, of 2019, and run through December 14th of 2019. It's going to be, we're going to meet every other week for 8 weeks. The Academy will focus on strengthening the natural talents and abilities of our students so that they understand that the creation process is both realistic and necessary to achievement. We value excellence and hold firm our core values of critical thinking, expression, wisdom, creativity, and problem solving. The disciplines that we're going to offer here are performing arts, visual arts, music, debate, and chess. Our mission is to close the achievement gap in our schools by using the whole brain approach to teaching and learning. We maintain that this provides the students we serve with the vital skills needed to compete in our creative and global economy and world. Students must understand that human advancement begins with thought and is continued through the manifestation and implementation of ideas. When children are allowed to create and imagine, they are set free to solve problems that they didn't even believe were possible in the first place. Each class will be hands-on and student-led, and our debate team will actually, and our chess team also will be competitive, and they'll have the chance to compete against their peers in our community. So, this is just an example of our curriculum. It'll go, each one of our disciplines will follow the same curriculum. So we look at our national standards for teaching, the same ones that we would use in a public school, and we're going to match them up with our goals and our objectives to ensure that our children are getting quality arts programming. So some benefits to our students, Melanie will tell you about.
Okay, so we've seen with the difference between if a kid is enrolled in an arts program and if they're not enrolled in an arts program. So the benefits, obviously, it's that the higher number of fine arts courses that a student's taking, the enrollment in these courses, the lower the rate of infraction, so behavioral issues, things like that. Arts help with that. We've learned, and there's so many statistics on that. School districts in Missouri with higher levels of student participation in arts showed higher graduation rates. I mean, we're trying to get kids graduated from high school. We want them to go to college. We want them, to advance, be productive citizens in society. The level of student participation in arts education are significantly correlated to multiple measures of student proficiency in mathematics, higher arts participation, equaling higher math scores on standardized tests. I mean, I know we don't like to harp on tests, but I do like to harp on children doing what they love to do and advancing and being productive citizens and doing what they want to do in their minds. So that's what we're trying to do, okay? To propel our mission, which is what we need from the community and you guys, and why we're here, is an event space or some kind of theater partnership so we can hold these courses, have this academy. We need local artists, professionals. Hey, we can't do it all. Like, I'm probably not the best debater, so we're gonna need somebody that's gonna, teach us how to argue. And we need volunteers. I'm the director of development, and we have some fundraising that we need to do, a lot of fundraising so we can open this academy. So I need people to come out and help me out, with my 5K and my volleyball tournament and all that. We need general sponsorships for volleyball tournament, or we're gonna do an evening with Santa with our photographer over here, and also community recognition. Everyone knows that once you're more well-known in the community, the more people are going to help you and accept you and, be willing to help something like this out. Like, nobody knows us right now, so we need some recognition. Like, hey, these people are doing some good for these kids and making strides to help these kids out, okay?
Yeah, that's perfect. And then in your free time or whenever you're just sitting there, you can feel free to visit our website. It's www.theartofImagination.org. And there you can find out more information about our resources, our programs, and what we intend to offer for our kiddos in the future. So thank you, appreciate it.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your presentation. Your energy was more effective than even our coffee this week.
Yes, that is something we always have, a lot of energy. Yes.
That's great. I think we all love that you're bringing arts to kids who don't have access to it. I still have on my resume that I was Santa Claus in the 3rd grade play. I don't know that I'm going to be the Santa Claus for your photo shoot, but I'll eventually be back in Santa Claus shape when I come.
You can be an elf.
I look forward to it. I'm the right size for now. Do you guys mind sharing more about your background and what led you to the Art of Imagination?
Yes, absolutely. So we both are in education. I most recently have been a para in the Hickman Middle School District, and right now I'm counseling clerk over at Ruskin. And so we've both been able to work with kids and just seen a lot of the devastation that they're facing and a lot of the effects of the poverty. I also am a photographer. I get to meet lots of different people, and most recently I was able to photograph funerals of police officers. And so while doing that, I was able to talk to them about some of the ways that we could help our children so that they don't become statistics and victims of violence and all of these things that happen. And so we kind of just got together and thought about using art as a way to combat a lot of these issues and a lot of these problems. And so we started in June of 2018, and we've just been going from there.
And Melanie, yourself?
My background is also in education. I actually never thought that I would ever want to teach kids when I was younger, but the older I got, I became a substitute teacher. I've been substitute teaching for about 15 years. I was a technology teacher last year at my kiddo's school, and just seeing, I've worked in many different school districts, Grandview, Hickman Mills, Kansas City. So just seeing these kiddos and what they're going through, sometimes it's heartbreaking. And when Shakira came to me with this idea, I was like, this is wonderful. This is what we're meant to do. We've been trained to do this. I think from being through all the school districts and being involved in education and watching our children too, this is what we're supposed to do. We need to help these kiddos through art. It may be, a few kiddos at a time, but this is what we're supposed to do.
Excellent. I'm going to let Leslie ask questions here in a second, but one more. Can you tell us a little bit more specifically about where you are in Kansas City? Where did you do your camp? And also, what is the area like there?
Yes, so our camp was held in Raytown, and we had it in an event space in Raytown. Specifically, we are looking at partnering with the Kansas City School District and with the Hickman Middle School District because they serve our population, the population that we're most, wanting to help is Kansas City.
Awesome. If you guys have questions, we'll still be asking questions for a bit, but you can make your way around to the side and we'll line up over there at House Left. My theater training, I still got it.
I agree also. I love your energy. I do love the fact that you all are supporting the imagination of children. I think it's definitely underrated. However, my question is, because programs like this sometimes don't last. So I didn't see anything in regards to cost. I know that you're a nonprofit, but how much will it cost you to run this program?
So absolutely, we ran some numbers, and it's right under 10,000. It's like 8,000 some odd dollars for the from September through December, and that would include all of our marketing, staffing, materials, and things like that. Is what we came up with that we would need.
And also, just so people can actually know the difference, how will you all measure that your program is working? How will people know that it's effective to get involved with your company?
Right, absolutely. So we're going to have, it's going to be an elective component that we're hoping that parents will give us access to their school records, and then we're going to try to work with the schools so that we can look at both their grades, their discipline records, and their test scores coming into our program and then exiting out of our program. We're also going to have the children keep portfolios throughout the academy so that we can see the progress that they've made just through our academy with their portfolio. And our showcase is also going to give us a very good understanding of what they've learned. Because in the showcase, we have an orchestra, and so our orchestra will perform. Our theater kids will produce their own play. Our debate team will hopefully be doing very well and winning their tournaments. And so we'll be able to kind of see the impact both on a school level and then just on a personal level with the children from where they started when they came into our program and then when they exit in December.
So in the area where you're working now, is there currently no arts programming, or what's the current state of things?
So there are arts programming, but a lot of it is just not financially, the children aren't able to really have access to that. A lot of the times, even a cheap arts program could cost a parent somewhere between $60 to $70 a week, especially when you're talking about private instruction. And a lot of our children, the children that we're trying to serve, are struggling to eat dinner at night. And so it's just not conducive for them. They're not able to have access to that. And so one of the components that we are looking at is having an income requirement to be involved with our program so that we can make sure that the children are at the poverty level or below and that we're serving kiddos that have a lack of access to quality programming.
Awesome. I see a few folks coming down for questions. Continue to line up over there if you have any questions. I'll ask one more. Your academy that you're building sounds like it's happening during the school year. The
Yes.
Imagination Camp that you did happen during the summertime. You guys know a lot more about this than I do, but one thing I have heard is that something that's lacking for inner city students is access to good programming and quality things to do during the summer. I'm wondering why you're shifting to going during the school year, or if maybe both will be a part of it?
Yes, correct. Thank you. So they will both be a part of it. So we're going to, Imagination Camp for 2019 will happen in July. And then our academy will happen during the school year on Saturdays to give them, an opportunity, like on the weekends, to continue this mission. It just gives us a longer time. We don't have that much time in the summer because of just, there's summer school and just different things. So I think we'll have a longer time to measure that impact and to get good quality programming for them by doing it both in the summer and during the school year on Saturdays.
Excellent. Let's take our first question from the community.
All right. Good morning, I'm Bob Kingham. LEANLAB Fellowship's going next, and I had an opportunity to work with them. There's a robust EdTech community in Kansas City, and have you considered taking your program and doing a train-the-trainer type approach, where not only do you have what you do with the limited amount of students you can reach, but training art teachers throughout the schools to do the same thing within the school system?
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the things, thank you for your question. That was one of the things that when we were partnering with the Kansas City School District, what we've been talking about is holding workshops for teachers where they can also learn and understand the impact of creativity and imagination and how they can use that in their classrooms to, you know, kind of supplement what we're doing and what they're already doing with the children. So.
Another question for you? Hi, thanks so much for what you're doing. It's really, I agree, art education and creativity is really valuable, especially as they grow up. You mentioned $10,000 for September to December, is that right?
Yes.
Would that extrapolate to $40,000 a year to be able to run this regularly?
Yes and no. I guess just without doing the quick figures, that would be a good estimation, but some of that money won't really double or quadruple because some of it is for like marketing and things like that. And a lot of our teachers are willing to work longer, and so we won't necessarily even have to like quadruple the financial cost for staff. So.
Gotcha, cool. And then, sorry, I might have missed it. How many kids do you think you can impact in that time period for that?
Yes, so we're looking at, within each, we have 6 disciplines, so we're looking at with each discipline right now having 10 to 15 kids per session. The more teachers and the more artists that we can get, then of course the more kiddos that we can serve. But right now with what we have, we're looking at about, I guess that would be about 80 kids for that time period.
Cool. Thank you.
Another question for you?
So do you have a grant kind of strategy in place? Because the money that you're asking for, I mean, $10,000 isn't a little money, but in the world of grants, it's really not a lot of money.
Right.
So what's your strategy for that? And secondly, I've started a charity, and it has to do with the arts, and I'm pretty good at marketing, so I'd be happy to help you kind of talk to you afterwards.
Absolutely, thank you. I appreciate that, you reaching out. And also, we are, I probably should have put that on the slide. If there is anybody that is good at grants and grant writing, we can also use that assistance. We do plan to just start at just the bottom level of just applying for these grants. We were really, really fortunate with Imagination Camp, and we were able to get just private donations, entirely funded the camp for us. And so it was free for our students to attend. And so we do need to get that part rolling also for Imagineering Academy, because the intention is for that also to be free so that they can come. They don't have any, barriers to that.
So one piece of feedback on your grant strategy would be to be very specific. Your presentation is really broad, and so if you can kind of narrow that in and really think about a funnel and funnel it down to something very specific and search for people that just do that. Second piece I was going to ask is, you've kind of piggybacking on, Disney calls their engineers Imagineers. Have you reached out to Disney on things like this? Because it seems like this would be right up their alley.
You know what? I have not, but that is an excellent idea, so I appreciate that.
Good morning.
Good morning.
2 questions about your website. Is there a place at the website for me to volunteer?
Yes, sir, there is.
And I'm a little fussy on the location. You mentioned school districts. Are these academies held in school buildings?
No, so we're going to, I do apologize, we just have not solidified the exact event space that we're going to use, but we're going to rent out an event space The last one that we used was in Raytown, so we do still have access to that one, but I'm looking for a location that is in the heart of Kansas City where children that may not have cars or even transportation can get on the bus and come to us instead of traveling down to Raytown.
You might consider using church buildings.
Yes, sir.
Free rent is a good price, where schools are too. And I would also mention that I'm an educator too, but the art I teach is science. And
That's
most of the
perfect.
students don't think that science is an art.
And it is
It's
an art.
still thinking
Yes.
of combining patterns that they don't see. And the other thing I emphasize in mine is teamwork, which I see a little bit in what you're doing, but if you can develop a team, a creative team, this is where Michelangelo, Da Vinci, all these people come out of teamwork. So thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have time for one more question from the community.
So sometimes it can be really hard to appreciate what you do, and you have about 2 seconds to get their attention. So can you talk a little bit about the marketing strategy, and then what's like that one thing that you got to get them to pay attention really quickly?
I'll repeat that question real quick because we're having some technical difficulties. It can be tough to capture people's attention because we're going through so many things in our world. What's that 2-second elevator pitch? How do you capture people's attention and let them know what you do?
I would just say leadership, you know, having children understand that, like I said earlier, that they can have an idea, work to create a physical product from that idea, and then not only transform their reality, but transform the reality for their community also. Just instilling those values of expression, wisdom, critical thinking in our students is what we're after right now.
Excellent. I know there were some more questions out there. We'll all be hanging out afterwards, so please, please, please connect with our entrepreneurs later. I know Leslie and I know some awesome programs that you need to check out here in Kansas City. Our closing question, what can we as a community do to help you?
Can you put up that slide? Which we did already discuss. We just talked about we need an event space. We also like a theater partnership for our orchestra and our theater that we're gonna have for the kiddos. We need local artists. Like we had a teacher come up and ask a question. We need people like that are experts at what we're not experts at to help us move this mission forward. We need volunteers. I'm going to be doing a lot of fundraising. Like I have a volleyball tournament coming up in November. It's beach volleyball. It's going to be in a dome, and I'm going to need a lot of people. I'm going to need, a handful or more of people to just help me out with running that. General sponsorships. Just anybody that can help, give us, a little bit of cash to help us fund everything. And like I said, community recognition. That's a huge, huge thing. You guys all know this. Like, let people know about us. Everybody that's here, if you could get on, like our Facebook page, go to the Art of Imagination, like it, let people know what we're doing. We're trying to help kids use their imaginations and stop being, we don't want them to grow up so fast. That's what we don't want. We don't want our kids to grow up that fast. We want them to keep imagining and keep, wanting to create things and be kids. That's what we want, okay?
That's beautiful. Thank you both so much. Let's thank our presenters.
Okay, we have a couple of quick flag announcements, so I will ask Rick Usher to come up really fast, wherever he is in the audience.
Thank you. Rick Usher, I'm Assistant City Manager for Small Business and Entrepreneurship in the city. And we have resident work sessions coming up tomorrow, noon to 2 at Liberty Memorial, Saturday, and then next Tuesday. We're really trying to push the startup community to engage, share your public policy voice with us. This is strategic planning for the city's planning process and the budget prioritization. So there'll be work groups. I've held a few kind of prep meetings, but this isn't to come listen to me talk about what should happen. It's really a listening session with city staff, with a few of our elected officials as we prepare the budget for the coming year.
Great, thank you. And also on Twitter, Caitlin's getting ready to send out a video that Rick just sent us kind of explaining all of this. So check that out, and I hope you will attend. Next, I would like to do Mug Club. So if you've been to 1 Million Cups 10 times or more and you haven't received a mug, raise your hand. Oh my gosh, seriously, Stephanie? Oh my God, come here. Come up here for a second. Okay, will you please explain why you're here and why you love coming to 1 Million Cups?
Oh my gosh. 1 Million Cups is really a place that I come to recharge my batteries. I've been in the entrepreneurial support community for a couple years now, and it's always really energizing to see the people on the ground really doing the work and walking the walk instead of doing so much of talking the talk. So I love it. It invigorates me, and I hope it invigorates all of you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, and our last announcement, we have another wonderful video from Startland News. So Tyler, we'll start that.
What's up, everyone? Startland News reporter Austin Barnes here with another look at what's trending in the Kansas City startup community. Let's get right to it. The race is on for local entrepreneurs, with at least 4 competing for their chance to snag speaking and panel opportunities at the 2019 South by Southwest Conference next spring. South by Southwest recently opened its panel picker voting platform, giving attendees the chance to generate buzz around the topics they'd like to see in March. To see who's making a play for stage time, head over to startlandnews.com. A Johnson County teen is putting her college plans on hold, choosing instead to take her new medical technology venture, Faceprint, on the road. 18-year-old Aaron Smith has been awarded a $25,000 fellowship from Davidson Talent Development and a $100,000 Teal Fellowship launched by PayPal founder Peter Thiel. Faceprint helps gauge diagnostics for those living with Parkinson's disease. Both fellowships are set to kick off in just a few weeks.
Separate opportunities come together to form powerful ideas.
New today, Startland News is releasing its list of top venture capital-backed companies for 2018. The list came together using data revealing amounts raised to date, number of employees, and 2-year average annual growth rate. Takeaways from this Startland list include Kansas companies raising at least $1 million, were on average 2 years older than their Missouri counterparts, had twice as many employees, and 4 times as much funding. You can find more on that list of VC-backed Kansas City companies by going to startlandnews.com. You'll also find more on the stories mentioned here today and other innovation news from in and around Kansas City. We also invite you to connect with us on Facebook.
And as always, thank you to Startland News for that great video, weekly video. So as we're getting the LEANLAB cohort on stage, Kyle has one quick last announcement.
Excellent. Global Entrepreneurship Week is coming up in November. It's the 12th to the 16th. This is the 11th annual Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's a week-long celebration of all things innovators and job creators around the globe. Same as we did last year, we are crowdsourcing events from the community. So if you are interested in sharing your expertise, exploring a conversation, featuring some local entrepreneurship that you think needs a little bit more light, please submit your events. You can do that right now at www.gewkc.org. Plexpod Westport Commons is actually going to be the home base for Global Entrepreneurship Week again this year. So you get a free space, free marketing, and an awesome opportunity to give back to the community. So please go to www.gewkc.org and submit your events before August 31st. August 30th is my mother's birthday.
Thank you. Okay, so I would now like to welcome up our second presenter, which is the latest LEANLAB cohort. We actually have 6 companies here for you today. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves. But before they get started, I would like to welcome up Katie Booty to talk about the program.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming out this morning. My name is Katie Booty. I'm the founder and CEO of LEANLAB Education. And I founded LEANLAB 5 years ago, similar to our last presenter. I was a teacher in Kansas City public schools and felt that our city needed a transformational education or transformational education opportunities that served all kids. So 5 years ago, started LEANLAB as an incubator that really finds, trains, and supports early stage education entrepreneurs to build transformational innovations for our city's students. 5 years later, that's evolved to be a robust community of support as well as a rigorous program that not only develops new innovations, but researches their impact and launches them into local schools. So, I'm super excited to announce our 5th cohort. This year, we added a new element of research. So we match-made our city schools and analyzed their critical needs and found high-potential education entrepreneurs from all over the United States, and we placed them in 3 public schools here in Kansas City. So the entrepreneurs behind me are working in Pitcher Elementary and Kansas City Public Schools, Crossroads Preparatory Academy High School, and Lee Tolbert Charter School, as well as working with different districts across the KC metro area. They are Base Academy of Music, K-12 Perform, Inquire Ed, Doors to Explore, Innovare, and Words Alive. Words Alive unfortunately can't be with us today. But without further ado, I'd love to welcome you to our 5th cohort and hand it off to Clint Velasquez of BAM.
Thank you, Katie. Like Katie said, my name is Clint Velasquez. I am the Executive Director of Base Academy of Music. At Base Academy of Music, we want to see all kids benefit from music education in their lives. But as we heard, families living east of the Truce Divide, families living in poverty, there's significant barriers. Oh, I get a clicker. It's me. Wonderful. For families living east of the Truce Divide, there are significant barriers to starting music education in their lives. So Base Academy of Music, we want to break down those barriers in a way that's dignifying and uplifting of the families. What that looks like for us is one-on-one music lessons on a sliding scale, so families who live in poverty can provide those music lessons for their kids. This last year, I had a principal reach out to me. She said, one of your students is at our school and just performed at a talent show. He was so proud. He was so excited on that stage. I could tell music was making a difference in his life. For us, that means so much. And we want those benefits to be to others. So what does that look like for you in the community? There are 3 things we want to ask of you. 1, if you have a student, we want them to sign up for music lessons. Our sliding scale works both ways. So if there's a family in economic need, sign up for the lessons. The lessons are very affordable. Or if you are a family that can afford to benefit others, sign up for a lesson. Pay more for your lessons so that students in need can also benefit like your children. Maybe you're just an advocate of arts and education. Sign up for our newsletter. Find out more ways that kids in our city are doing amazing things. Or perhaps music made a difference in your life, and you want to pass those benefits on to another kid. Sign up to sponsor a lesson. All of those things can be done at our website, bamkc.org. Sign up for a lesson, sign up for our newsletter, or sponsor a lesson. Make a difference in a kid's life. My name is Clint Velasquez, and I am with Base Academy of Music.
Good morning. Imagine you walk into your office or your workplace first thing in the morning, and you look at a wall and there are 100 nails sticking out of that wall. You know it is your task at some point over the next month to drive every single one of those in to develop and grow your business. However, you're directed that 3 of them are absolutely imperative to your success this morning. How do you determine which 3 of those 100 to drive in? This is what we do at K-12 Perform. We support school district superintendents and building leaders in simplifying performance management. My name is Brad McLaughlin. I'm a co-founder of K-12 Perform. I've spent the last, K-12 Perform, K-12 Perform is an ed tech company that's simplest with services, software services, and best practices that supports school districts in simplifying performance management. I've spent the last 20 years in education. The last 10, I've been a superintendent
And for the last 5 years, I've helped to engineer the largest turnaround of any urban or suburban school district in the state of Missouri. My co-founder, Brett Simpson, is a serial entrepreneur who has spent the last 20 years in software and consulting. At K-12 Perform, we've packaged our experience into a software subscription and a set of best practices that provide education leaders with insight. Basically, what we can do is we can provide education leaders with the most significant growth opportunities and the greatest risks to their performance. And we do this through actionable recommendations. These actionable recommendations are outlined, they are prioritized, and they are sequenced to be implemented at the district level, at the building level, all the way down to each individual student level. What we're asking for today is just opportunities and introductions. We want an opportunity in a non-threatening manner at all to get into school district leaders and support them in maximizing their performance. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Shanti Govind, the CEO and founder of Inquire Ed, a SaaS platform that brings inquiry-based learning to every classroom. So I spent the better part of my career in education, in classrooms, and as an administrator and teacher preparation. And I've discovered something that every single person in this room already knows. We are not preparing our students for the needs of the 21st century workforce. But I'm going to also tell you something that you might not know. There's actually a research-backed solution for this. It's called inquiry-based learning. And that's just a fancy way of saying that students learn through experiential, hands-on, real-world problem solving in the classroom. And over the last 4 years, over 60% of states, including Missouri, have adopted standards that put inquiry-based learning at the center. But schools aren't teaching this way, so why not? Well, there's not actually a lot of inquiry-based curriculum out there, and their teachers are not trained to teach this way. So Inquire Ed fills that gap by providing a SaaS platform that provides teachers with inquiry-based curriculum with embedded teacher training, so teachers get the support they need to implement with quality. We're currently in 8 pilot schools, including Pitcher Elementary, here on the east side of Kansas City, and we couldn't be more proud to be serving that school. We are moving into a full K-6 launch in the fall of 2019, and so our ask is really about introductions. We are eager to support schools throughout Kansas City, throughout Missouri, throughout Kansas, in really providing a path to ensuring that inquiry-based learning isn't what education should look like, but instead what it can look like for every student in every classroom. Thanks so much. Shanti at inquireed.org. We'd love to chat.
Good morning, Kansas City. Good morning. I'm Kelly Johnson, founder of Doors to Explore, and I'm here from Connecticut. I want to start off with a question. How many of you remember that deep, thought-provoking conversation with your high school guidance counselor that let you think about your career options for the future? It's a rhetorical question. But how many of you have heard about the STEM talent shortage? That's science, technology, engineering, math, not just in Kansas City, but all around America. Everyone. I'm an engineer, and for the last 20 plus years I've worked in high tech. Employers know that to reach and grow talent, they need to reach back further into the pipeline and get younger students to influence their decision making around STEM. Doors to Explore is a mobile platform by which employers can reach middle and high school students to share branded career STEM messaging. We're different because we're providing bite-sized, interactive lessons so students can understand exciting STEM career opportunities from your organization. We're excited to be here in Kansas City. We're working with Crossroads Preparatory Academy in downtown Kansas City. They're excited, and if there are employers in the audience, we'd love to talk to you. Thank you very much.
There's a clicker. Oh, fantastic, thank you. Hi everyone, how are you? My name is AJ, I'm the CEO of Innovare Social Innovation Partners. We're an edtech company headquartered in Chicago, and our focus is on supporting school, education leaders in general, get good at continuous improvement. The problem we're solving is very well known to all of us, and that is that educational improvement is just not happening in our country, or at the rate that it needs to be. We believe that those that are in close proximity to teachers and students, i.e. principals and nonprofit leaders, superintendents, have the capacity to be change makers in education. And what we do is we built a platform, we've combined our backgrounds in education, business, and tech to build a platform that actually guides these leaders through the strategic planning process. It starts by helping them understand their current state, set targets for improvement, develop a strategy, actually implement the strategy with a team, use data to evaluate results, and iterate that cycle so they can have sustainability in their improvement efforts. We are currently working with 45 clients in 4 states, including Missouri. We're very excited to be working with Leah Tolbert Academy, as well as have worked with schools in KCPS, and want to grow in Kansas City, and that's where you come in.
Thanks, AJ. So I'm Nick Freeman, co-founder and president with Innovair, and I'm the partner that directly supports our partners. So for me, I get to see how our platform actually solves those true pain points of our schools and our other organizations. So recently we supported a school here in Kansas City, develop an actual strategic plan, that they were awarded $600,000 in funding through the Kaufman, the Hall, and Walton Foundations to actually implement that plan. So now imagine if we were able to have that sort of impact across all of the schools in Kansas City. So that's where everybody in this room comes in. We're looking for those champions to introduce us to our potential clients. We're looking for those philanthropic leaders who can help support our efforts. And we're also looking for investors who can help us accelerate our growth as we try to achieve that 10x impact that we want. So, who's ready to become change makers in education? Thank you.